Call over.
All set?
Yep.
Is Carlo on?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Call this meeting to order. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of the United States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
we got to do something for them. Oh, my God. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Gray.
Present.
Trustee Caprio.
Present.
Trustee Rogers.
Present.
Trustee Suisse.
Present.
Trustee Pazmino.
Present.
Trustee Bacco.
Present.
Mayor Yukich.
Present.
Are we going to have the TVs on?
Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to table item I-4 due to the fact that I don't have the approved A&F minutes. I'd like to look into those just to look at the various contracts and the discussion that was had during that A&F meeting, if possible.
You didn't finish.
Did he get cut off?
I'm sorry?
Oh, he's still there.
All right, so you want to table the minutes, or you want to table number 4?
I'd like to table I-4 until I have an opportunity to read the A&F approved minutes once they've been released, and just see what the discussion was related to the renewal of that contract. I love the vendor, and I think they do a great job for us. I'm going to be prudent in my ability to approve that item.
All right, anyone on the board have a problem with it?
We need a second.
Second.
Ruben. Okay, so we're tabling it, we're not discussing it, and we'll bring it back.
Thank you.
I need a roll call or vote or voice vote or something.
Okay, so who's, the second was
Ruben,
Ruben,
or Trustee Pazmino, sorry.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Sherry, could you, because we're not going to discuss it, could we grab the company and let them know that it's...
Yeah, he's here. Frank's here.
All right. Next, is there a motion to approve Resolution 21-001, a resolution regarding HB 3653, disapproving of the legislative process and recommending Governor Pritzker's veto?
So moved.
Second.
Rogers and Trustee Gray. Any discussion? I'd like Senator Kern to come up first and speak on behalf of this. And then we'll take the time just to be able to explain how we feel about it.
Thank you, Mayor and Village Board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on HB 3653. Your resolution, is really twofold. One, this objection is about content of the law that was adopted by the General Assembly, but also process. I will tell you the process and this lame duck session, after months of committee hearings in which proponents of some of the concepts in HB 3653 just put forth some generalized bullet points, and law enforcement participated in talking general concept. Never once was there any specific legislation, any specific language put before our committee to discuss statutory language, statutory intent, and really how it would affect and how it would be implemented in actual real-life scenarios. That was completely lacking. That content did not actually get put forth for review until 2 days before the lame duck session started. And this was, mind you, at that point in time, in excess of 600 pages. That eventually was amended several times, and at 3 in the morning, on the last day of session, a 761-page document was filed, put before us, and we were given 1 hour to review. And that was the actual content that passed, that now our law enforcement community has to put into action in protecting our neighborhoods and our public safety. And there's a lot of harmful content in that bill that passed. First and foremost, let me tell you, that bill is an attack on policing. It's an attack on our police officers and our law enforcement community. And it is going to put police officers that follow the letter of that legislation in harm's way. It handcuffs them in interactions with dangerous suspects and limits their ability to use force to defend themselves and defend others. Law enforcement, police officers already put themselves in harm's way every day when they go about doing their duties and protecting the general public. This bill is going to increase that danger tenfold. Secondly, this bill eliminates our current system of cash bail. While someone is arrested for dangerous, violent crimes and held before they go to trial. What we will now move to with this bill is a very narrow detention system that is going to lead to more dangerous criminals being released back into the community while they await trial to commit more crimes and disrupt the public and harm the public while that's going on. I will tell you, those 2 points, amongst many points in this legislation, are extremely troubling. I thank you for your leadership. Governor Pritzker needs to hear from every community in the state of Illinois about the detrimental effects of this particular piece of legislation. And hopefully encourage the governor to do the right thing, to pull out his veto pen, send this back to the General Assembly, and tell them your process was broken, the content here needs work, you can do better. And we in the General Assembly can do better and should do better for the people of Illinois. And I thank you for taking up this resolution to consider sending that exact message to Governor Pritzker.
Well, discussion with the board right now, and then we can take a vote on this. I know I have a few things that I'd like to say about it, but I'll let all you guys start off. So Keith, can you start off?
Yeah, I agree with everything Senator Kern said. This is a bad process. Imagine we've all at this dais and several people in the audience know what it's like to get an agenda packet that's several hundred pages. Imagine getting 700 pages and being allowed 1 hour to vote on that. I know, for one, I'd probably still be screaming down there, but I know that unfortunately you guys are shut out of the process completely. It's take it or leave it, vote or don't vote. That's really unfair. So while there's so much wrong with this particular bill, there's so much wrong with the state process. So I'm glad that Senator Kern addressed that also in his comments when he said, you know, the process is broken as well as the content of this bill, because unfortunately we're getting a lot of bad stuff from Springfield being foisted upon the rest of the state because of processes like this. So I appreciate the senator's comments, and that's my input. Back to blue, right, LT?
We'll go with Trustee Pazmino.
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, a lot of people probably don't have the time to look through those 616 pages, but I think it is worth noting that if you go on FOP.org, they've actually highlighted everything in about 4 pages as far as some of the really urgent items. One of the things that was really alarming to me as a resident and a business owner is what they're trying to push through with trespassing laws. So essentially, if you don't want somebody on your property or in your business and you need them removed, they cannot be arrested. They will be cited, and they will be asked, and then they will be cited again if you have to call again. They will not be removed from your property. No amount of trespassing, no trespassing signs is going to help that, unfortunately, with this bill. It's really important that we call the governor. On FOP.org has all the information via email. They have the hotlines. We need to jam this guy's lines, and we need to make sure this is vetoed and stopped immediately. Thank you.
Trustee Becker.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate Senator Kern coming and speaking to this. It's my opinion that Governor Pritzker hasn't listened to the residents of Illinois since the day he took office. I sure hope that he gets the message loud and clear now. I don't have faith that he will, but this bill is a travesty. It truly is.
Trustee Suisse.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank Trustee Pasmino for contacting a few of us on the board and pushing through and putting a resolution on our agenda for tonight. I think it's real important, and thank you, Senator Kern, for coming and letting us know exactly what was going on with the Assembly.
Trustee Rogers.
I would just encourage people that there's been several different petitions that have been passed around both on social media and in mailers that if this is, it is really something that you need to put your name to your words and sign those petitions and get them out, along with flooding. And I know that this works because I've been part of a push and part of organizations that flood your representatives and your governor with emails and let them know how you feel about it, because that's where, if it just sits by and everybody just complains about it and doesn't do anything about it, that's when they feel like they have the upper hand. So I would just encourage people to make sure you're putting your pen to those petitions and your voice, get your voice out there and let yourself be heard.
Trustee Caprio.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Senator Kern, thank you for your service. Thank you for attending this evening. I apologize that I wasn't able to be there in person. I totally agree with my colleagues. I do feel that this impedes the ability of any professional officer to do their job to their fullest, and I certainly hope that we can veto this thing and get it behind us. It's just, it puts us in such a bad predicament. It puts us in such bad safety measures as part of Public Services and Safety Committee for Homer Glen. It concerns me greatly. So again, thank you and applaud you for your efforts.
Thank you. And as for me, you know, all I do is I see what the police do for us. And it seems funny, you know, you've been hearing it for the last 6 months that they want to stop giving the police as much as they do. Well, you definitely stopped it with this, because right now they're at more risk than what they were before. I mean, you're going to some of the houses that you don't know what you're walking into. You can't even holster your gun. It's what I would say is, if Governor Pritzker, if you want to pass this, I think you should go out with some of the policemen and stand right next to them, and let's see how you feel at the end of the day, because they have no idea what they're walking into. They don't have everything that you have. I think this is a travesty, just like the rest of the people here have said, and my heart goes out to all the policemen, because I'll tell you what, I and myself and this whole board here, and I know most of the residents, or all the residents here, they all have to agree with this. This is craziness. It's worse than the Wild West. Mm-hmm. So Governor Pritzker, let's see if you go out there with them. You don't carry the gun. You don't have any protection. Let's see what you want to do. That's all I have to say.
Amen.
And Senator Kern, thank you so much for coming out here. It's a pleasure to have you out here, and I know how hard you are working too for this state and for us. So thank you. Next would be...
We need to vote?
Oh. Christine, could you take the roll?
Sure. Trustee Backel?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio? Aye. Trustee Pasmino?
Aye.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
And I'm sure, Mayor Yukich, you're going to want to vote too.
Aye. Motion carries. Next would be reports and communications from the mayor and other officers. We'll start with mine. It's kind of lengthy.
Mr. Mayor, can you speak in your mic? Thank you.
I want to thank the village and road district crew for the great work during the past snow event. I want to remind everyone that it's very important not to park on the street when snow is in the forecast. It makes plowing the neighborhoods extremely difficult. We appreciate everyone helping us out. Next, and this I would like to read into the record. We had a phone call today that we got on. So this past week, we sent a letter to Will County board members asking for their leadership at the county level to share information about their vaccination plans for the region. The village has been receiving a lot of phone calls asking for assistance or thinking that the village will be implementing the vaccination rollout. Will County is responsible for this, but we are still waiting to find out more details of the plan and where our residents can go and get vaccinated. Today, the village manager and I were on a Zoom call with the Will County Health Department and other mayors to get an update from our residents on their vaccination plans. I want to thank Mike Frizzalone for responding to my letter and being on a call today as well. We haven't heard from anyone else from there. So it was very nice that we have one of our Will County representatives representing us. Will County Health Department, along with the Will County Executive, Jennifer Bertino-Tarrant, are working with the state of Illinois on the rollout. As of now, there are 700,000 residents in the county and 30,000 of them have been vaccinated. This is 1.7% of the total population. They are still focusing on category 1A now, which is the first responders and the healthcare workers. They have 100,000 residents that have completed the online survey. They are receiving over 200 phone calls a day on the hotline. We only have to be patient, and the next phase, which is category 1B, is senior citizens. They do expect additional locations for the vaccinations to be rolled out next month. If you want vaccinations, you need to go to their website, https://willcountyhealth.org, to complete the survey. Then you will need to wait to be contacted. When contacted, you will receive an email with instructions on where to go and get an appointment for our vaccine. As we get additional information, we will share this with the residents of our website, Facebook, and Channel 6. So if there is any questions and the health department comes forward and gives us more information, and the Will County officials for Homer Glen, as long as they keep up with what Mr. Frizzalone had done, it would be wonderful if Mr. Ballage could join in too. Indoor dining reopens. I am pleased to see that our residents are back open, our restaurants are back open for indoor dining, and the gaming machines have been turned back on. Please take your family out to dinner and support our local businesses. And with that, we'll go to the trustees, and we'll go to Trustee Pasmino.
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
Trustee Suisse.
No report this evening.
Trustee Rogers.
The Parks meeting was canceled on Monday due to what we thought was going to be a snowstorm, and actually it just ended up being enough to make some snowmen. But better safe than sorry. I'm not one to like to drive in the snow at all, so I was all for that. So it was canceled, but we did send the packet out to the committee members and have asked for their comments so that we can continue to move forward with what we hope are some new programs for the summer rollout. Last year we did some tennis programs, and we had a lot of them. We had the beanbag tournament, different things like that. So staff is looking for the committee's suggestions and recommendations on and support on some of the ideas that they have moving forward. So hopefully all of them will get back to me on that. I also sent it to each of the trustees because I'd like to have your feedback on that as well, so that we can continue to kind of move this forward. I know everything seems to have slowed down not only because we're government, but also because of COVID. So I want to make sure we're moving this along, because before we know it, spring will be here. I'd also like to just kind of reiterate what I said relative to the bill and contacting your representatives and your emails, and I would say to do the same with the COVID vaccinations. I've had a few people who have reached out to me, and all I can really do is move them on to our representatives. So our representatives are Mike Frizzone and Steve Ballage. You can find their information, I believe, on their website, but also on our website, or you can contact me and I'll forward it to you, because that's what we need to do, because we need to be the squeaky wheels. I did see on the news this week that the Tinley Park Convention Center has a huge rollout, so they're rolling out things, and I just have to believe that we do need to stay ahead of this. We need to be a squeaky wheel so that we can get our seniors vaccinated, our healthcare workers, our first responders, and then, you know, get whomever chooses to be vaccinated, get them going and get this ball going, because we need to be the squeaky wheel in this and support these people. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Rogers. Trustee Caprio?
Thanks, Mayor. Public services and safety, unfortunately, we weren't able to meet. I wasn't able to make that meeting, as many others were not early in the year. We will get back on track here in February. I'm sure Brock may have a brief update on some other things. Festival Committee continues to meet. We are planning a nice extravaganza for the 20th anniversary of the village, as well as the 2021 Homer Fest, and we look forward to having a great time with some great events, and we're really planning hard, and I think we're going to do well. And I think hopefully by that time we'll have some of the most of the restrictions lifted. You hope by June that we'll be able to do in-person gathering to its fullest extent. And we're not planning on a socially distanced festival, so pray that this thing goes away or diminishes. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Caprio. Trustee Backel?
Sorry, Mayor, I'm tangled up in my mask here. Our next public safety meeting, I believe, is next Wednesday, if I'm correct, and I will have some information at that meeting regarding the Long Run Creek project that I've been working on. At this point, I can't expound any more than that, but that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Backel. Trustee Gray?
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing as far as the committee level goes to report, but I would like to remind everybody that it looks like the gas and wash at 159th and Gauger is coming along nicely. They've had some great weather, not too impacted, so I think they're going to be open sooner rather than later. I believe their sign says about mid-February. So place looks great. I'm sure everybody's been driving past it for all these months and seeing the progress. I look forward to welcoming them, and that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gray. And they're starting to fill in the grocery store, so I agree. They're going to be opening this thing sooner than what they thought they were going to, so good for them. All right, next, that would be the village clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything to report, but I would like to take a moment to thank our police officers at the Will County Sheriff's Office. Today, there was an incident that brought fear to many parents and children in our area. When my child's daycare called to tell me the situation, fear immediately kicked in. Although it was not a direct fear for my child or my child's school safety, it was a fearful phone call no parent is ever really prepared for. It was only a matter of minutes the school called me back to let me know that the officers were not only on standby, not only sitting in the school's parking lot, but they even took time out of their day to go inside and talk to the worried teachers and the worried children. I truly believe we have the best of the best protecting our community, and I just wanted to say thank you. And thank you for being there for our children when we can't get there fast enough. And thank you for protecting our village the way you do. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Christine. Next would be the village attorney.
No report, Your Honor.
Next would be the public safety officials.
Real quick, Your Honor.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
My pleasure, sir. I'm going to have to lower this. Senator Kern's pretty tall.
Yes, he is.
I just want to say thank you to Senator Kern. He's been on the forefront of this, fighting a good fight, so thank you to him. Also want to thank you, the board. Your unwavering support is always there for us, and I want to thank each and every board member for what you do on a regular basis, especially for what you did tonight. To Tonight's no different than any other night. You're always there for us. Village staff as well, always there for us. And the public really has risen to the occasion lately. It's been a real rough go for law enforcement, but Village of Homer Glen is just, I can't say enough about their support. They're wonderful. No matter what comes our way, we are completely dedicated to this village. When dispatch advised over the radio what was going on today, I just want to let the public know, as soon as that dispatch stopped, I had a deputy come up on the air and immediately advise that he was already in the area. There was no delay. Right after that, our sergeant, the zone sergeant, advised she was in the area right away. And soon thereafter, another deputy was on Wilcook Road looking for the vehicle. So everything was immediate, boom, boom, boom. Our traffic deputy was nearby as well. And soon thereafter, it was funny, a central car, the adjacent zone to our west, advised he was on a traffic stop at 151st and Gauger. So he was a stone's throw away from Homer as well. The reason I tell you this is that I know these are tense times, but I want the public to know that the sheriff's office is here in full force, ready to go at a moment's notice. We patrol this village 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We're just a phone call away. Any emergency, 911. If our units, let's say, if we get tied up on a crisis situation, you have a vast amount of resources and support for our operations here in Homer Glen. So for example, if we were all tied up today, I have deputies in adjacent zones that are already shifting our way, and their support units well beyond that, be it investigations, crime scene, canines, SWAT, name it, we got it, and we can call them up at a moment's notice. And also, great working relationship with surrounding departments, with Orland, with Lockport, you know, Mokina, New Lenox, Frankfurt, excellent departments, very professional in every way. The last thing I want to say to the public to make them feel safer really is just be aware of your surroundings. And I say this not out of fear. We don't live in fear. If you're aware of your surroundings, you're in control of that situation, okay? You don't want anything surprising you. Just be aware of what's around you, okay? This is a wonderful village. We're successful here because we work with the mayor, the board, the village staff, the other public service entities. We're a team. You know how difficult it is nowadays. We can't do it alone. So I appreciate all your sentiments of support and appreciation, but we couldn't do it without you either. So thank you very much. And that's the end.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Lieutenant, I was
Yes.
wondering, and maybe you can't answer if it's an ongoing investigation, but could you just clarify, this was not in Homer Glen, correct?
Yeah, thank you, Beth, for bringing that up. It was not.
And it was not even in Will County?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
There was just some confusion because they say Wilcook Road, Orland, and, you know, oh, they raced over this way. My understanding is none of this ever got into Homer Glen or Will County.
Yeah, our units were right there and verified that it did not appear that the offending vehicle ever entered the village.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
Village Manager.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to let everyone know, believe it or not, it's that time of year again for us to start our budget process for 21 and 2022. So if you have any ideas, suggestions, or programs or funding, please get those to me. And we're compiling the information now, and we'll be presenting information forward at the next A&F committee meeting as well to the full board in the coming months.
Thank you. Next would be public comment.
Carrie, while he's grabbing that, just to speak on that, I know Trustee Gray had approached me with some ideas he has for seniors, which would be effective in the 2021 budget. What exactly do you need from us? I know there's ideas. Are you looking for us to come up with the numbers as well? Because I don't want to come out and say, that I'm happy to. I mean, I'm sure, as Keith, you could speak to it more than I can.
That's right, go on.
Oh, you.
Well, we were talking about outreach, especially to the senior community, specifically to like Marion Village, Victorian Village, because we know there's a concentration there. Since the Homer Horizon has gone under, there's no more print vehicle for people to get their news, and unfortunately the seniors were probably the most affected by that. I know Carrie and I have spoken in the past about maybe doing a newsletter from the village right here, like like we just did with the annual State of the Village, and maybe sending it into those facilities, and even Founders Crossing, the seniors over there, like once a month. Something we print here in the village, and so it really wouldn't, but it kind of keeps them in the loop. A lot of seniors are off the technological loop, so they're not seeing YouTube, or they're not, signing on for emails and things, so they're missing out on a lot of those opportunities, so.
Yeah, so that, if you have ideas like that, go ahead and get them to me, and then we can start formulating what the cost of those would be.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. Do we need to get together some type of a general cost for you for our ideas, or we just give you the
Yeah,
idea?
you just tell me what your ideas are, and then we will cost those out for you. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, we'll go back to public comment. Brian Stevens? Okay. You're welcome. Consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. Is there a motion to approve the following items? 1, the accounts payable for the period of January 15th, 2021 through January 28th, 2021 in the amount of $1,036,169.80. And the treasurer's report of cash and investments for the periods ending November 30th, 2020 and December 31st, 2020.
I so move.
Trustee Backel?
Second.
Trustee Gray? Discussion? Discussion? Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Backel?
Aye.
Motion carries. Legislation and action items. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-002, an ordinance approving 1, a variance to reduce a required rear yard setback for the proposed detached garage addition from the required 40 feet to 33 feet. 2, a variance to reduce the corner side lot for a non-dedicated right-of-way from the required 80 feet to 46 feet. 3, a variance to increase the maximum allowability impervious surface from 30% to 35%. And 4, a variance to increase the maximum allowable lot coverage from 20% to 34% for certain real property located in the R2 Single Family Residential District at 13564 West 167th Street, Homer Glen, Illinois, subject to the following conditions. 1, the architecture of the addition shall meet the exterior materials ordinance and be archaeologically consistent with the principal structure. 2, all property maintenance violations shall be corrected prior to the issuance of a building permit for this addition. 3, the location of the well and septic shall be provided on a plat of survey when the application is submitted for the building permit. 4, pipeline easements shall be added to the plat of survey and to the engineering drawings. 5, approval of final engineering prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Mr. Mayor, just have a quick comment on one of the conditions. So the applicant is supposed to locate the well and septic, and we contacted Will County Health Department, and they do not have any records, so the applicant would need to hire a private consultant to locate that. And I just mentioned to the applicant, he's aware of it, and that's one of the approval conditions.
Okay. Yeah, because it says on here that they have to show where it's going to be, so. All right, so is there a motion?
I've got a few questions before we motion.
We got a motion
We have to
first.
motion.
We have to motion, okay.
And a second.
I'll make motion.
Trustee Rogers,
I'll second.
trustee Gray. All in favor?
No, he's gonna.
Now it's discussion.
So, VJ, I'm looking at this, there's quite a few violations here, correct? From what I
Yeah.
see on the,
Property maintenance?
yeah.
Yes.
So, obviously, prior to awarding this, all of these are going to need to be addressed, correct? I'm sorry, this is a phone call that I have to take. It's a personal.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions right now?
No, I would just say, I know that the maintenance and the violations are part of are a condition of the approval, so that's kind of, he won't, if we approve it, he knows he has to do that. I was by there today, he's already done quite a few improvements to the property. And, you know, this time of year, everything doesn't look that great as it is, but he's definitely done a lot of the things that he needs to do. But all of the maintenance and the improvements are conditioned on the vote.
Yeah, almost everything that you could possibly ask is one of the restrictions.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to, my question was, prior to approval, is this going to be checked to make sure that everything is met?
That would be a condition of the permit issuance, yeah.
Okay.
Now, we haven't...
It's a condition of the permit issuance, but he can continue on with all of the other things. He can get the locations in place, he can get his architectural drawings in place, his engineering while he's making those. You're just not going to issue a building permit, so he can't strike into the ground until that happens, correct?
That's my understanding, what the condition is, yes.
Well, some of those things, and let me address some of that is here. For instance, the roof, I was planning on replacing while doing the new construction. That way I don't have to have multiple construction crews, multiple permits, and you know, a financial burden as well as logistical burden.
But as part of your building permit, when you come in, you're going to show the building department all of the roof that you're going to replace, right? So you guys will be working hand in hand on that.
Correct.
I understand there might be a handoff, but that's in Joe's discretion probably.
Correct. I haven't seen the actual submittal of the permit and the scope of work, but if the repair and maintenance of the house is included with that initial permit submittal, I think we could work with them on that.
And I would also say, you know, we always say, why are things, you know, why does it need a variance? This is a piece of property where there's so much that he doesn't control. Those pipelines, you know, he doesn't control those. We need to work with those. I also live on a piece of property that's a well and septic, and that's hard to do. You know, when I went to put a pool in, you got to move around. You're really restricted on what you want to do, and I appreciate you being patient through the process. I know you had to go through zoning quite a few times, but we just want to make sure that, especially with those pipelines, that they were protecting the residents.
Understandable.
I have a question.
Yeah, and if I can chime in, this is Carlo. Mr. Stevens, you have a great piece of property there on that corner. I think, you know, the things that you can do to that are fantastic. You know, you get it up to par and you get these things done, I think it really will improve the value of that property.
Thank you.
Are you planning on running a business with this new building?
No, ma'am. If you've been by the property, there's a trolley in the driveway. I have a couple of trolleys and a snowmobile trailer and, you know, things that I need stored.
Thank you.
Right now, I'm spending $2,000 a month in storage.
Hey, are those trolleys mobile?
They are.
Maybe we should talk to you come the next Homer for holidays. That might be kind of a good idea. We could partner up and...
My brother did it in Plainfield for his neighborhood.
Yeah, that's great.
So, Mr. Stevens, I have a question for you about attachment 6. I don't know if we're going to, if you have the same pictures on the display or not, but on attachment 6, where you see the end building, the furthest on the left.
The square?
Well, where it shows the what is it called, a salt dorm roof or something like that. On the one side, it shows, on the short side, it shows 24 feet. And I don't know, there's no annotation saying what the high side of this roof is, but we do have a limitation on, right, was it 30 feet, 35 feet?
I think it's 30 feet.
So,
yeah. No.
I know these aren't final drawings.
Yeah, it won't be higher than that, yeah. No, I think it's going to roughly be 24 feet at the high end.
I think that was my only question, was just to make sure that you were cognizant of the maximum height of that roof, so. Otherwise, I'd like to echo what Trustee Rogers said. You know, it's been a long process, and hopefully we can get to the end of it. You'll have a great product and a great piece of property with all the improvements and everything. It should look nice. And I hope, my vote is for the alternative renderings of your things, where you've got a little more detail going on in the building as opposed to a big blank wall, but that's my own personal.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio? Trustee Caprio? Trustee,
Sorry, I was muted. I'm sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Trustee Pazmino?
Yes.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Backel?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, ordinance number 21-003. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-003, an ordinance amending 83-68 of the Code of the Village of Homer Glen, increasing the number of Class D liquor licenses issued within the Village of Homer Glen? It is understood that the number of Class D liquor license package store will increase by 1.
So moved.
I so move.
Trustee Gray, who seconded it?
Carlo?
Carlo.
Okay, is there any?
Caprio.
Is there any discussion? None? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye, and I'm sorry, this is tough doing this via Zoom.
Trustee Pazmino?
Aye.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Backel?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 3, assigning a Class D liquor license to Lenny's Gas and Wash. So is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21-004, an ordinance assigning an available Class D liquor license package store to Lenny's Gas and Wash on 159th and Gauger, LLC, owner Leonard McHenry, DBA Gas and Wash, 159th and Gauger Road, located at 15930 West 159th Street, Homer Glen, Illinois.
I so move.
Trustee Caprio,
I'll second.
Trustee Backel, discussion. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Trustee Pazmino?
You know what, I just thought of something. Do I have to recuse myself because of the liquor? Yeah, okay. I recuse due to conflict.
Trustee Gray?
Aye.
Trustee Backel?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers?
Aye.
Trustee Suisse?
Aye.
Trustee Caprio?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, extension of the village's oops, no, we tabled that. Next would be workshop, community solar presentation.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Mr. Mark Pruitt. If you would tell us a little bit about yourself. And Mr. Andy Pinelli is with him, and he's our Environment Committee member.
Well, thank you, Sharon. I just wanted to give a quick intro to Mark Pruitt. He's here tonight to share with us a fantastic opportunity to advance community and nature in harmony. It's an opportunity to advance action on state renewable energy targets and also promote cleaner air and water by doing so. And it's also an opportunity to reduce our municipal village electric costs. And it's also an opportunity to educate and encourage our village homeowners to do the same, potentially locking in meaningful long-term savings for village residents with no downside risks. So Mark is the principal of the Power Bureau. He's also this is a consulting firm that provides energy commodity procurement and planning to small and mid-sized organizations. He's also a professor, an associate professor at Northwestern's Master of Science in Energy and Sustainability program, and he's the former director of the Illinois Power Agency. So he'll be sharing a program with you tonight that he helped develop with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, and I think you're going to find it very interesting. Thank you.
Good evening. Andy told you most of the relevant parts of my career. I'm an analyst. So a lot of my expertise over the years has been in analyzing utility opportunities or cost mitigation options for consumers primarily. What My role is here for tonight is just to present you with an opportunity, but I'd like to just start by telling you what I'm not asking for, so you can just rest assured. One is, I'm not looking for land. I don't sell solar panels. I don't install equipment, all right? All the solar projects that we're talking about tonight are already under development, and most of them are under development in rural Illinois. Okay, so all we're talking about is a transaction, an accrediting program that's facilitated by Commonwealth Edison that allows your residents here in Homer Glen to get a share of the electricity generated by a solar farm outside of Rockford or DeKalb or Freeport. So I just wanted to be really clear that this isn't a pitch to have the village or your residents invest in anything. This is a program that's offered through ComEd and the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, which I believe most of the municipalities in the region are part of, have identified this as an opportunity for municipalities to promote sustainability. And I'm just here to present the opportunity tonight. So thanks to Andy and your Sustainability Committee and you tonight for your time. So with that, I'll just move into the presentation, but I'm happy to entertain questions at any time. Thank you. Why don't you show me? Ah, great. I already mentioned the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus. Mayor's Caucus operates a series of programs anywhere from lobbying and policy all the way down to practical programs for the environment. The CS Squared program is the program that my firm has been hired to manage. And in addition, I monitor state legislation for the Mayor's Caucus. So we talk about all the bills that are constantly churning down in Springfield. So state law that was passed in 2016 called the Future Energy Jobs Act allows for this concept called community solar. Community solar is shared solar. It's 5 acres of solar located out in the rural part of the state, and it's allowed to be shared by 100, 200, 300 households. So the reason this came about is that studies have shown that approximately 80% of households in North America can't install solar. They have a shaded roof, or the roof isn't sturdy enough, or they don't, frankly, the household doesn't have the money to pay for installed solar. So community solar is a way to provide access to solar for consumers. So I'm not going to bore you with reading the diagram to you, but just suffice to say that right now there are 75 community solar projects under development in Northern Illinois. Those projects can each support about 400 households in terms of what are called subscriptions. Those projects are going to have their electricity delivered to ComEd, and then ComEd is obligated by state law to credit that electricity to the consumers who subscribe to the program. So it is a circuit here. And what we're talking about tonight is whether Homer Glen would like their residents to have the opportunity to subscribe to these solar farms and receive credits on their bill every month. That's it. The transaction requires a payment, but you know, before we get into the nitty-gritty of how the program works, this is the idea. The electricity goes into the ComEd system. ComEd allocates it to the various accounts, and for those accounts provides a credit. Every month the credit is worth a little bit different value because it's based on an equation that's tied to the ComEd price for electricity. But the bottom line is that the average single-family home in ComEd would net out financial benefits of about $105 a year. A multifamily apartment would be about $40 to $45 per year. So that's the magic. You're generating electricity in one part of the ComEd system. It gets credited to accounts that are identified as subscribers in another part of the system. Just so you don't think that this is a pilot program, we're working right now with about, I think it's 10 municipalities for their own municipal facilities. These include Lake Forest, Deerfield, Oak Park. We have about a dozen other municipalities that are looking at this for their residents as well. And you see here just the image of what a credit looks like on a ComEd bill. This is from one of our municipal members that wanted to test this out before they offered it to their residents. And so they, for one of their municipal facilities, had a very small subscription. And I think this was for the month of June. They received a credit, and the details of the credit are in the box at the top. And I think it was about $14 or so. And you see that that same value shows up on the billing statement below in the energy supply portion of the bill. They had a certain amount of electricity from a solar farm credited to their account for the month of June. It was worth about 5.6 cents a kilowatt hour, I believe. And they didn't have to install anything. They didn't have to make an investment. They're not responsible for maintenance, and they can terminate at any time without any penalty or fee. So it's a very friendly contract and very easy for the municipality. And now that we've rolled this out for residents, it's very easy for residents as well. Now, you know, these credits aren't free. They have to be paid for. So a resident or any subscriber to a community solar project is now going to have 2 bills to pay each month. And I know that that might be a burden for some, but this is what we have to deal with the ComEd billing system. So if you don't have community solar, look in the area on the left in the grayscale. Your utility bill has 3 separate sections. One is the supply services section, the second is the delivery section, and then the third is the taxes and fees. And in this example, we're just stipulating that for this customer, this model customer, that their cost is right at about $140 for the month. When the community solar subscription kicks in, their energy supply portion of their bill is going to be reduced by the credits that come from their share of the electricity from the community solar farm. They're going to have a lower net cost there. Their delivery and taxes and fees stay the same, so the overall ComEd bill will be lower. They will then have a bill from the community solar developer, and that community solar developer will be entitled to 80% of the credits that were given by ComEd. So in the end, the customer keeps 20% of the credits every month. They pay 80% of the credits to the developer. So at the end of the day, for this example, for this monthly billing cycle, the net benefit to the consumer, the monthly savings that they would realize, is right at about $12. Now, that's not a mortgage payment, I get that, but it is a revenue that will arrive every month. Again, there's no down payment, there's no investment, there's no obligation for maintenance, and they can terminate at any time with 30 days notice. So the money is good, right? It's better than the municipal aggregation programs that we've seen in the past several years. And it is a way to support sustainable development in Illinois without having to front a lot of money. Again, all of the community solar projects that we're dealing with are located in northern Illinois and are connected to the ComEd system. And you know, they are needing the subscribers to be able to complete their development. So having residential customers, municipalities, recognizing this as an opportunity is a way to support the development of those resources. So why do we have this program? Why is Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus involved? Well, there is a lot of promotion. I don't know if you've seen it, but on social media feeds, telemarketing, we expect door-to-door to start here pretty soon. There's a lot of these developers who are really interested in finding subscribers. And with a lot of offers, there's a lot of risk. We see a number of these offers saying, hey, sign up for community solar and we'll give you a $50, $100, $200 signing bonus. And that's fine, but some of the terms are a little sketchy, as my son would say. Some of these have minimum credit scores requirements, so they can deny you if you have a FICO score of less than 650, which is fully a third of the population in Northern Illinois. It's not very equitable. Some of these have very high termination fees, where if you want to terminate the agreement because you're moving or you just don't like it anymore, it could be a $200 fee to get out of the contract. Others, we saw one where the customer is effectively signing a power of attorney for the control of their utility bill over to the company. All of these things are not in the interest of consumers. So the Mayor's Caucus developed the program, the CS² program, to provide some consistency and fairness to consumers. And we've negotiated with the developers to make certain volumes available to us at a set revenue split and contract terms that are fair to the consumer. And I've mentioned no termination fee, no credit check, and no enrollment fees. So again, we think that this is a good program, and we've been able to leverage the volumes of many municipalities with these developers. The developers have seen the light, and what they really want to do is work with the municipalities to promote the community solar opportunity to their residents, and just have a good and transparent program where the developers can build their resources, maintain and operate them, the consumers get the economic benefit, and the municipalities are in that position where they can help their residents avoid some of the noise and risk that might be associated with the consumers trying to go out and do this on their own. There's really 5 steps to our program. The first step is where the municipality indicates to the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus that they want to sponsor the program. Once we have the interest of the municipality, we go through a few clerical steps in terms of registration with the Illinois Power Agency, and we arrange for a direct mailing that goes out to your residents. We pay for the mailing. You know, that's us, but you get to control what's in the mailing, when it goes out, and all other aspects of the communication. Once the consumers see the opportunity, they can go online and register and indicate that they have an interest. We validate their interest and that their account is qualified. We match them up with a community solar provider. They're offered a contract. They don't have to take the contract if they change their mind. They can just say, no, I'm not interested anymore. If they do enter into the subscription agreement, we have an electronic process where they don't have to have paper flying all over the place. They can sign online, they can execute, and generally within 1 or 2 billing cycles, they're receiving their bill credits. So it's very quick. The projects that we're contracting with on a program basis are coming online. 2 have come online in January, 3 more are coming online in February, and then 4 in March. So we have these credits are going to be available in very short order. And then over time, we have customer care and customer resource center, as well as other assistance for residents who have questions. You know, this is a new way of doing things, so there's always lots of questions. We want to have people available on the phone or online or even in person if they have questions. This is just an example of the type of mailer that we put out. We use postcards. We like to brand these with the municipal logo and name, because that's a signal to the residents that this is legitimate, that this is something that's been vetted and understood. So this is an example from Deerfield. This is the back of the mailer that gives information about the program, some of its benefits. Not very salesy, because Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus is not a very salesy organization. We have to observe the marketing rules around community solar that have been set by the Illinois Power Agency. So this is kind of plain vanilla, no razzle dazzle. But it is effective. We found that anywhere from 2 to 5% of the residents in the municipalities that we've been working with have an immediate interest in the program and do sign up. So it's not everybody. It's probably for those that have an interest in solar or have pursued solar and haven't been able to put it together for their own home, or they're renters, or they fall into some other category. We have an online site where the sponsoring municipalities at the top We have some municipalities that just want their own page. We have other municipalities, such as here, that join together and like to work together as a group. We're agnostic. To us, it's more important to make sure the municipality gets what is comfortable for them, but the content is generally the same. So lots of information, lots of frequently asked questions. We have links to the Citizens Utility Board and other organizations that support community solar. So here are the 1, 2, 3. If Homer Glen was interested in pursuing this, I'm available to work with village staff to provide more details. We have the samples of our subscription agreements, our outreach materials and the like. We're not going to sneak anything up on anyone. Full disclosure, you get the full battery of data right away and understand the steps that we go through to move up to a direct mail piece. And then they talk about how to get that out on the street and how we monitor response from the residents. And then on an ongoing basis, we like to provide the reporting to the municipality and, again, continue to serve the customers who are really going to benefit from this. And what we find is that once the municipalities start, that local groups tend to gravitate to the program and start talking about it themselves. So I'm not a social media guy. So I don't push social media message, but we know in each of our communities we've been working with so far that their local sustainability organizations have been very involved and active in talking about the program. So we're happy to help those organizations as well understand the program. So I do appreciate your time. I don't want to prattle on. I know you have other important business to do, but I appreciate the opportunity and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you.
I think, Mark, when you were at the Environment Committee, you did mention about the only requirement then is you need to have a smart meter, because some homes still don't have that. But that has to be the first step, right?
That's correct. And that's why when a customer signs up, what we ask is not only their name and address, but also their utility account number. Because with that utility account number, we can access through the comment system, and this is allowed, certain information about that account. One of the pieces of information is whether it is a smart meter or not.
Mr. Pruitt, I have 2 questions for you. One of your slides showed, the one where it showed information about a credit score. It said on there that you would have savings of 10 to 20%, but then the other slides where it showed the marketing piece, it said guaranteed 20% savings.
Right. We have agreements with all of our providers right now to offer the 20% share of the net metering credits. Okay, so the customer keeps 20%, they pay 80% of those credits. We know that at some point in time that supply will be exhausted, and it's my expectation, just having seen supply programs in the past, it could be that later down the road we may be able to only find developers who are willing and able to provide a 10% discount. So for us right now, we're just trying to be transparent and say, look, for the early adopters, we have an inventory that can provide you a 20% share on those net metering credits.
And that doesn't change as subscriptions sell out or?
No, we manage the portfolio so that if Homer Glen were to want to participate now, in the near future, we would set aside a certain amount of that volume for Homer Glen, actually more than what you needed, just to make sure that everybody from Homer Glen who was offered the 20% would always have the 20%, and that 20% offer would be for the life of their contract. That never gets clawed back.
But if you came out with like a second or third subscription, that might be at a lower rate?
Correct. So if we're having this conversation in August, I'm imagining that the supply is tighter. That means that the price effectively is higher, and that means that the discount will be lower.
Okay. My second question is, do you have any oversight from the state?
Do I have oversight from the state?
Does your industry have oversight from the state? I mean, who's monitoring the what the calculations are, what the generation is, and who's entitled to what?
The agency that is most in charge of this is the Illinois Power Agency, which has control over the incentives that are received by these community solar developers. So they have requirements on those community solar developers, not only for life, safety, and operational integrity of their assets, but also in terms of their treatment of consumers, their requirement to file contracts that they enter into with consumers, and they also have the ability to cut off the community solar developer's ability to serve consumers if there is consumer abuse. So the agency really has the direct regulatory oversight, and that's largely because that agency is responsible for facilitating the incentives that these community solar assets are receiving through the state. The other agency that has oversight here, and it's a little bit more distant, is the Illinois Commerce Commission. The Illinois Commerce Commission also has some licensing authority over the community solar developers, and they require reporting, transparency, and posting of performance bonds for their resources. So that's the type of oversight that is for the developer. For our organization, we are what's referenced as a marketing designee, so we're obligated to abide by a set of marketing rules that have been established by the Illinois Power Agency. It's only about 24 pages, it's not onerous. But as a marketing designee, we're obligated to continue to always be current in our reporting, and also we're subject to any type of complaint. So if a customer felt that they were being misled or receiving poor service, that would be something that the agency would take up with us for corrective action. So in some instances, designees' licenses have been, I haven't seen any terminations, but I have seen some suspensions. So they do monitor closely.
Thank you.
I'm just curious why, and I must have missed it in the presentation, why you need the village, because I have like these type of sales calls come to my office probably 6 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found in being in the property management, what we did, what didn't work for me is now I have double the amount of bills I have to pay, so I'd rather the one. But then there was also issues of like liability on the equipment or the service. So if ComEd, if I lost power to my house, all of a sudden I call ComEd saying, no, you got to call Constellation because you kind of pierced this corporate veil by allowing them to do this. But besides that, what I'm curious, I'm just not understanding why you need the village when people are coming to my office every day and my village isn't involved in it.
Well, it sounds like you're describing retail energy supply. You mentioned Constellation. They're a retail energy supplier. This is a bit different than retail energy supply because this is offered through Commonwealth Edison, not a retailer. But I'm sorry, your question is why do you need the municipality? We don't.
Okay.
Municipalities came to the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and said, we're getting questions from our residents, they're getting these marketing messages, it's confusing, they're calling us because we used to do municipal aggregation, or this was a door-to-door person that came, and we don't understand what this means. We're interested, but we don't know if it's a good offer. So the municipalities asked the Mayor's Caucus, could you come up with a program that provides a standard contract, a procurement methodology that gets competitive pricing from these developers, and just lay something out for us so that our residents have something that they could go to. We said, yeah, we could do that, and the municipality said that they wanted to promote it because from their aspect, the issue of consumer protection is very high, and they felt that this was a preemptive method for avoiding some of the consumer confusion that comes from someone calling you 6 times a year to talk about your utility bill.
So you really don't, the mailer that you would mail out to the residents, you're going to mail out the same mailer regardless of whether or not the village supports it, except it's just not going to say Village of Homer Glen.
I'm not going to do any mailers to Homer Glen unless Homer Glen wants me to do it. We're not a marketing organization at the Mayor's Caucus. We serve the interests of the municipality. If a municipality wants a mailer, we'll do it. But I'm not out here to be a huckster for community solar. My job is to provide a program that if municipalities want to access it because they feel it has value to their customers or their residents, I'm more than happy to do that. But I'm not a marketing organization that's just going to blast out emails or social media or direct mailers.
I have a question. I just wanted to clarify a comment because we had a lot more time when we discussed this in Environment Committee. Because you were saying then that actually the Village Hall here can participate in this program as well and get a discount of 10 to 20%, or small businesses. Is that true?
That's true. If you pay a ComEd bill and you have a residential or small commercial account, you can participate in the program.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Sorry, I'm remote.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. In your experience, have you seen municipalities setting ordinances, and maybe you covered this, and I apologize if I missed it, ordinances around solar and how, I don't think they're great looking. I understand there's a savings of sorts. Is there municipality setting ordinances around this, like Highland Park, about how they're installed, where they're installed, what they look like? I mean, if you had an entire community of solar panels on a roof.
Well, first, just to be clear, we're not talking about installing any solar panels in Homer Glen. That's not what this is about. All the solar panels we're talking about here are installed in large solar farms that are located out in rural.
Oh, I apologize. Okay.
But to your question, Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus also has a program called, I think it's Solar Start, which does provide guidance to municipalities that want to put together a solar permitting process, and Edith Macra heads up that program.
Okay, yeah, I apologize. I'm doing this remote. It's challenging.
No, I think we all feel your pain.
I have a question, Mark. Do you have any communities in our region that are looking to move forward with this? I know a lot of the ones you showed are up northern. Who in our region is thinking about doing this, or you've reached out to us?
We've been having some extended conversations with Reggie Greenwood, who works at the South Suburban Mayors and Managers Association and is also involved in the Southland Economic Development Corporation. In fact, we are meeting on Monday to start talking about which municipalities they think may have an interest in this. But I can't claim that have any of your neighbors that we're working with directly.
Are there any other questions for him?
Mark, how long is the contract term if somebody signed up if they get the 20% discount?
Sure, it's an at-will contract, but it can extend for as long as 15 years, as long as that's what the customer wants.
So you could lock in that savings for 15 years potentially.
Correct.
Anything else? Thank you, Mark. I think the idea is good. I think putting them on roofs around here is not a bad idea. But let's let them get this through their head and wrap their arms around it, and we can go from there.
Very good. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate your time, too. Okay. Next would be State of the Village address.
So, Mr. Mayor, we have our second virtual State of the Village address. Due to the COVID pandemic, we were not able to hold our regular luncheon that we typically have had in the past. So we have been, as you know, working with you and the staff to put together an overview of everything that was accomplished last year throughout the village in all the different areas. And I'm going to turn it over to Sean for him to, or Matt, one of them. And we're going to be playing this for the first time tonight for the board. And then tomorrow we will be posting the video on all of our social media pages, as well as our website and our Channel 6 as well.
Welcome. My name is George Yukich. I'm the mayor of Homer Glen. I'm here to put out our State of the Village for the year. We are doing it virtual because there's a COVID problem outside and there's nothing we can do about it. We've had a pandemic that has never been seen before, and I hope it goes away real quick. We've had a lot of problem with all kinds of businesses shutting down in the village, which really isn't fair to them. But we're trying to be as safe as we possibly can, and we are helping out all the businesses as much as we possibly can. This is something that is unprecedented, and we'll get past this. The Village Hall has made many changes to make it easier for our residents and for the staff. So I want to thank you for your support, and I want you to sit back and enjoy the state of the village. Last year, when the pandemic arrived, the village was the first in the region to establish a bridge loan program for our businesses and distributed $130,000 in early funding until other governmental programs came online. The village also made sure that the business owners had timely notification and easy access to resources and assistance programs. I and the village trustees also loosened our codes and rules to help our businesses. We also expanded outdoor dining for our restaurants, allowed prepackaged liquor sales with carry-out food, allowed the use of temporary promotional signage, waived fees for all business licenses, reduced liquor licenses and gaming licenses of impacted business, furnished free barricades for expanding outdoor dining areas, developed a shop local for the holiday gift card giveaway. We created and provided for free shop local signs around the town, offered free advertising to our businesses in the village newsletters and on our Facebook page. We held a food drive for our local food pantry and provided $5,000 in additional funding to the pantry to assist our residents. Last September, I hosted a roundtable discussion with local business owners to better determine how they have been coping and where we might be able to lend more help. Our recurring comment among our business partners is their appreciation for the support and kindness of the residents. Our village residents have stepped up when the business community needed it most. Our businesses have done a wonderful job of learning to adapt. We are stronger when we all support each other. Even during these difficult times, we have so many blessings. The village of Homer Glen is well positioned during this crisis and for the future. New businesses continue to open and grow in Homer Glen. Over 85,000 square feet of commercial space was filled as a result of new and retained business activity last year. The real estate market is doing very well for both existing homes and new construction. The average home selling price is $387,000, and the average time in the market is 86 days. Despite the pandemic, 2020 was a productive year, with the village continuing to improve the quality of life for residents through new park amenities and expanded family recreational programming. The village's newest park opened in the Glenview Walk subdivision in October. The playground is packed with exciting play features, including the village's first zip line. Last summer, the Heritage Park Disc Golf Course opened to the public. A new swing set was also constructed at the Active Core in Heritage Park to offer even more for families to do. Given the huge popularity of Heritage Park, we have been planning and designing the future faces of the park. Last fall, the concept design plans were presented to the village board. The timing of the next phases of construction still need to be finalized. However, the plans include a village green with outdoor amphitheater seating and a beautiful stage and additional walking paths. The section of this park will host a variety of future special events, including the Homerfest. We will be extending the Heritage Circle north to a cul-de-sac that will add approximately 150 additional parking spots needed for special events and will provide for better access to the sledding hill during winter. The plans will also honor our local veterans through construction of a new Veterans Memorial immediately behind the Village Hall. Construction of an open play area will include regrading of an area to accommodate a soccer field, additional walking paths, and a small arboretum. It was heartbreaking to cancel community events in 2020 due to the pandemic. However, the village is optimistic about this year. The first ever Homerfest was held in 2011 to celebrate the village's 10th anniversary. Please plan on joining us for 4 fun-filled days June 24th through the 27th, 2021, as we celebrate the village's 20th anniversary. I am excited to share with you we will be having a flyover air show at Homerfest to celebrate our birthday. Check out the limalima.com website if you want to learn more. The village was able to adapt our community events and still offer residents and families safe and engaging community activities. The third annual Chalk Fest, Chalk It Up, was relocated to the sidewalks of Heritage Park, and it was held in July. Movie Under the Stars was adapted to drive-in format with a giant screen and held in August. October brought spooky park decorations and a scarecrow walk of creative community scarecrow displays to Heritage Park. The village organized care packages for delivery to local veterans in lieu of the annual larger Veterans Day celebration. The holiday season was kicked off with a new Santa parade of vehicles routed throughout the village. Families were then invited to experience at their leisure the expanded holiday light display in Heritage Park and vote for their favorite decorated snowman. The third annual Dress Your Pet Holiday Costume Photo Contest and Holiday Home Decorating Contest helped us to spark cheer and bring the community together. The village directly supported businesses during the holiday season with a Shop and Dine Receive program. Participants who spent $100 at Homer Glen businesses received an entry into a drawing to win $250 in gift cards to use at businesses in Homer Glen. The village purchased $25,000 in local business gift cards for the 5 weekly drawings of winners leading up to the holidays. A total of 100 winners received the gift cards. During the last 3 years, the village board has been strategically planning for the future of Homer Glen. We continue to evaluate our local business economy, transportation needs, recreation assets, and future land use plans. Successful communities plan for their success. There are still many business sectors underrepresented in the village, and we know there are opportunities for growth in the coming years. There is still a demand in Homer Glen for new housing construction, while the village will always maintain its character as a single-family residential community. There are opportunities to diversify our local economy and housing market to meet the varying needs and life stages of our residents and to also attract new families. Businesses and rooftops are tied together. Homer Glen must remain competitive in our region, both to attract and to retain families and businesses. In 2018, we adopted a strategic plan which focuses on 6 strategic priorities: economic development, financial stability, growth, intergovernmental partnerships, recreational amenities, and public infrastructure. A lot of hard work has been done. The planning process has been fully transparent and inclusive, including the work currently being done on updating our comprehensive plan that was first drafted back in 2005. Public outreach, initiated in 2019, included 7 public meetings, development of a unique website, and public engagement at our community events to collect feedback from residents. Homer Glen, due to its young nature and ability to proactively plan for the future, has a very unique opportunity to set the stage for balanced and sustainable development and future growth. The draft plan review and adoption process for the comprehensive plan update is ongoing, and we welcome your input. Homer Glen now has a new look. The village successfully undertook another strategic initiative to update its marketing brand. Through a series of public meetings, discovery exercises, and an online survey, the village gathered feedback and explored design options with residents, stakeholders, the Community and Economic Development Committee, the project steering team, and the village board. While the village seal will always remain, last October the village board approved a new brand design. Look for the new branding to roll out in the village newsletter, our promotional materials on our website, and on the new gateway and wayfinding signs around the town. The new marketing brand with the tagline, "You Know Your Home," is a fitting makeover for the village's celebration of its 20th year anniversary. Tied to our strategic plan, the village continues to work on improving our public infrastructure. The village inherited a large number of drainage issues when we incorporated in 2001. These issues are addressed through our annual drainage improvement program. Construction on drainage improvements for the Countrywood subdivision was completed last spring. The improvements for Statler Ridge Estates were completed in December, with restoration work planned for the spring. Construction on the Chickasaw Hills 6th Edition and Eagle Ridge Drive drainage projects will begin in February. The Meadow Crest and Oak Valley Phase 4 projects are still being engineered, and we hope to go out for bid later this year. Long Run Creek is a critical waterway throughout our community and region. In early June, the Public Services and Safety Committee met with residents from the Spring Creek Woods subdivision who asked the village for assistance with flooding and drainage along the creek. This is a complex and difficult issue as the creek is located on private property. However, we are committed to assisting when and where we can. Together, we identified several high-priority creek areas and are investigating a plan to clean up the creek with the help of the residents. Last fall, after the leaves fell off the trees, the village paid for a plane flyover on the creek in partnership with the village of Lamont. This flyover took aerial photographs of the entire creek that will be used to identify areas along the waterway that need to be cleaned up and addressed to allow for a better flow in the creek during large rain events. These efforts will continue in 2021. The village is committed to financial excellence and integrity. For the 19th year in a row, the Village of Homer Glen has received a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The village's growing retail base generates a significant amount of sales tax revenue that supports the current village operations. Due to COVID-19, we have had to tighten our budget belt last year, and the village wisely decreased our expenditures and revenues by 10%. We are looking forward to a better 2021 for all of us, and our current revenue projections remain stable. The village is also debt-free now. We paid off our debt early, which resulted in a financial savings of $491,000 in interest. The village will be making its last payment in February 2021 for the incentive agreement with Menards. This means the village will retain 100% of the 1% sales tax generated from the Menards store, saving the village $175,000 annually. We still maintain a AA+ Standard & Poor's bond credit ratings, which reflects a strong capacity to meet all of our financial commitments and excellent financial planning. Despite the pandemic, there is a great optimism about the business climate in our village. As a testament to Homer Glen's strong business climate, the village welcomed 19 new businesses. 2 additional existing businesses were retained through relocation or new ownership. The village board and I understand the important partnership we have with the local business community. Please do your part to welcome our new businesses and support all local businesses in Homer Glen. Together, we have a bright future. Among the many business success stories of the year are Shorewood Home and Auto and Good Life Physical Therapy. Despite the pandemic, Shorewood Home and Auto completed construction on their new 28,000 square foot building on 159th Street. Good Life Physical Therapy finished their new 6,000 square foot facility at Founders Crossing. Both businesses opened to the public last fall. Overall, the village realized over $4 million in total private investment in 2020. Construction of the gas and wash at the corner of 159th Street and Gauger Road is well underway. The new gas station with enhanced architecture is the first commercial development to connect to the village's recently extended water and sanitary sewer mains. Gas and Wash is preparing to open by spring of 2021. Here is some more exciting news. The former bonfire property has a new owner. The new owners of the Phoenix Kitchen and Cocktails are preparing to open a unique concept for casual upscale dining that will draw patrons from the greater area. The Phoenix plans to open later this spring after a complete remodel. M&I Homes is making great progress with their new townhome development, the Square at Goodings Grove. M&I Homes reports strong interest in low-maintenance townhomes designed featuring 2- and 3-bedroom options and open floor plans. About a third of the 76 townhomes have already been sold. The square at Goodings Grove is conveniently located next to many shopping and dining options. Central courtyards for social gatherings, tree-lined streetscapes, and easy walkability to stores and restaurants offer a new and desirable lifestyle choice in Homer Glen. In December, the Village Board approved an intergovernmental agreement with the Homer Township Road District for the final transfer of the road district stewardship, including real estate, personal property, and equipment. This marked the first formal step toward the village creating its own public works department. This agreement allows for the transfer of the stewardship to occur by March 31st, 2021. As you may recall, the Village Board first shared its plan to pursue the transfer last July. At the time, we committed to an open, transparent, and collaborative process, and we meant it. During the past several months, the village held informational meetings, mailed newsletters to each household, and continuously updated its website, social media pages, and the new public access channel, Channel 6, to provide updates and new information. The village also reached out to other impacted governmental entities, including representatives from Homer Township, City of Lockport, Village of Lamont, and the Village of New Lenox, to discuss our plans and the impacts on those residents. Out of 153 miles of roads maintained by the road district, 135 are owned by the village. The village strongly believes it should have authority to make funding and maintenance decisions pertaining to the road it already owns. Homer Glen residents have been paying most of the taxes into the system to buy trucks, plows, and equipment for the past 20 years. Homer Glen and Homer Township voters soundly defeated a referendum last November that would have allowed the Homer Township Board to take over our roads. The outcome demonstrated that voters strongly support the village's plan to control its own destiny and not be beholden to another government entity. I remind you of this important community initiative because we work for you. We want to honor our commitment that all stakeholders are fairly treated and informed throughout this process. Despite the progress, there is more work to be done to make this transfer a success. It includes finalizing agreements with other impacted governmental entities, onboarding road district employees, cross-training our employees to gain work efficiencies and cost effectiveness, and developing Homer Glen's first Public Works Department budget for spring budget adoption. In order to fund the operations of the Public Works Department, the village will levy $1.5 million to be collected in 2021. This amount, combined with other village funding sources, will be used for the first year's operations. As we proceed with the plan, we promise to continue to maintain transparency and open communication with all of you. This year will mark a critical milestone in the process to acquire the pipeline supplying water to our community and 4 other area communities. In the spring, the courts will determine the fair market value of the system. If the court issues a market value that is fair and reasonable, the water agency will acquire the pipeline. Originally, the court case was scheduled for last year, but due to COVID-19, it was postponed until May of 2021. The 2 main goals of purchasing the pipeline are to stabilize or reduce water rates by removing the profit motive and to gain control of our water infrastructure to have a greater say over water access well into the future. Every day, the village is updating our website with important information for our residents and for local businesses. You can sign up on the website to get this information emailed to you or like us on Facebook. The village continues to expand our communications and social media presence, news alerts, village reminders, and event announcements that can be found on our website, homerglenil.org. Followers of our Facebook page have increased by more than 60% over the past year. We also use SurveyMonkey, a digital survey platform, as a communication tool to hear from you. The semi-annual Village Messenger newsletter is mailed to every household. I am also excited to promote our new Channel 6 on Comcast. Please check it out. Tune in to Comcast Channel 6 to watch the most recent Village Board meeting and to catch up on the latest news, updates, and announcements for the Village of Homer Glen. We are very proud of our village. We're very thankful for the first responders, for everything they've done, the nurses, the police, the fire department, EMA, just anyone that has helped out, thank you very much. I want to thank the village board and the staff because I know how much work you've put into this and hours that you put into this, because I've come in here many times and told you, go home, you don't live here. Our 20th anniversary is coming up. It's going to be done at the Community Festival. We have a lot of things that are going to be coming up that go along with that. And we would really like you to shop and dine local. It's very important to the community. Thank you.
Oh, that was good. Thank you.
Nice job. Yeah, that was very well done.
I saw you starting to cry a little.
If I could just take a moment to thank our staff. This video was done in-house, so we have extremely talented staff here. So I want to thank Sean. I want to thank Matt and Amy and Sue as well, because they're the ones who put all this together for the village. And we have so much to be proud of here.
Yes, we do.
Nice job, everybody. That was great. And I think I said this last year after we watched your last year's one mayor. I said, now I understand why we're all exhausted.
All right, next, is there any old business? Is there any new business?
Mayor, I have one thing. I took a phone call during the meeting. Due to COVID, families not allowed in hospitals, so the only way to communicate is via telephone with doctors. So I was expecting that phone call during the meeting, and I just want to let everybody know that that's just something that was unavoidable.
Not a problem. Is there any other new business? All right, the next item is executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing purchase or sale of real property, potential of pending litigation, and personnel?
So motion.
Trustee Gray. Second. Trustee Backel.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're going into executive session. We'll take a 5-minute recess. And stay here.
That was amazing.